It is indeed my pleasure to introduce today's General Assembly commencement speaker, Mr. David Begnaud. David Begnaud is a University of Louisiana at Lafayette alum and a CBS News national correspondent. In August of 2015, Begnaud joined CBS as their Miami correspondent and then relocated to Dallas bureau in January of 2017. His reporting has been featured across CBS News networks and platforms including CBS This Morning, the CBS Evening News, 48 Hours, CBS Sunday Morning, CBSN, and CBS News 24/7 streaming news service. His broadcast from Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria battered the U.S. territory last September earned Begnaud the George Polk Award in public service. The Polk Award is one of the most prestigious in journalism. Past winners include Walter Cronkite, Peter Jennings, and Bob Woodward. The award recognizes intrepid, bold, and influential work, according to the Polk website. Begnaud received the award in February. He was cited for reportage that detailed destruction caused by Hurricane Maria and the inability of federal and territorial officials to provide timely and effective aid to the islanders. Begnaud and his crew brought mainland viewers firsthand accounts of the suffering and loss of life and property. Hurricane Maria killed 64 residents and caused an estimated $100 billion worth of damage. The Karen Crow, Louisiana native has returned home to cover local stories for CBS News. Begnaud's first breaking news assignment for CBS News sent him here to Lafayette, just a quarter of a mile from where we are right now. He was sent from New York to cover the shooting at the Grand Theater in July of 2015. 3 people, including the gunman, died. Other than 9 were injured. Begnaud's career began as a teen reporter for local CBS affiliate KLFY TV10 when he was a student at Turlings Catholic High School. Before joining CBS, he was a Los Angeles-based reporter for Newsbreaker at ORA TV, a social media firm. He was also a regular contributor to Entertainment Tonight. Begnaud, who has also worked for KOVR in Sacramento from 2007 to 2010, and KTLA in Los Angeles from 2010 to 2012. Begnaud received a bachelor's degree in general studies from UL Lafayette in 2005. Before I welcome Mr. Begnaud to the podium to deliver the commencement address this morning, we will show you a brief introductory video. Please play the video.
The storm made landfall an hour and 15 minutes ago, and these are the worst winds we've seen.
Maria inflicted damage on 80% of the homes here.
¿Cómo se siente?
How are you feeling? I asked him. I'm good, thanks to the Virgin Mary.
3,000 shipping containers just sitting here since Saturday, with enough supplies to help 500,000 Puerto Ricans.
This is an emergency, for God's sake. The food had to get into my people's hands.
We've been here 26 hours. My mother needs dialysis.
Nobody's handing out water, nobody's handing out food. There are no airline representatives at the counter.
Because of your reporting that I saw last night, I ordered food to be delivered to the airports as well.
Okay, I hear you, but it's not getting to them.
I understand, and that's why immediately I'm taking action.
By tractor, we made it to Oaxaca, where officials say this 90-year-old dam is in jeopardy of breaching. The challenge of rebuilding for Puerto Rico will be daunting.
Weeks without power or months?
I think we're going to be talking about months.
These are Americans sitting in line, sleeping in their car, desperately trying to get fuel.
I know that leaders aren't supposed to cry, but we are having a humanitarian crisis.
There's evidence that things are happening faster in Puerto Rico than we have seen before in terms of aid getting to where it needs to go.
When you go down, you have to get up, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Amid this misery, you should know we've seen resilience. As one man told us with a smile on his face, we're used to this. David Begnaud, CBS News.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming CBS News national correspondent and a 2005 alum of the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, Mr. David Begnaud.
Good morning. Believe it or not, I'm a little nervous to be standing in front of you. It's true. Staring down the lens of a camera with 6 million people on the other end is usually no problem for me, but looking out into an audience like this, it's quite something. But here we are, and I could not be more honored to be your commencement speaker. President Savoy, thank you for inviting me. To my mom and dad, who are in the front row, to my Aunt Sis, my partner, my sister, thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. Members of the faculty, university staff, parents, family members, golden graduates, and to the graduates of 2018, congratulations, y'all. Look, we millennials don't always get a good rap, and yes, I am a millennial. I'm on the verge of it, and I can prove it. In fact, let's do one of the most millennial things. Let's take a selfie. I've got about 400,000 people on social media I want to share this with. So y'all stand, grab your phone, and let's do a selfie. Right? Here we go. Grab your phone. We'll do it on 3. Turn the camera around. Oh, this is going to be good. Here we go. 1, 2. Bam! What you all have accomplished is a really big deal. You have done something that 7 out of 10 Americans don't have: a college degree. 70% of Americans don't have a college degree. This is called a commencement because it is a beginning. It's the beginning of your opportunity to change the world, or at least your little corner of it. Whether it's your community of Karen Crow where you were raised, born, as I was, or maybe it was Malaysia where you grew up. Or maybe it's the place you're dreaming to call your next home. Somewhere right now, someone, someplace is waiting on you and your potential. President Kennedy said this: "Let us think of education as a means of developing our greatest abilities, because in each of us there is a private hope and a dream which, fulfilled, can be translated into benefit for everyone and a greater strength for our nation." You know, the world is changing rapidly. In fact, when I was in college, get this, you couldn't set up a Facebook account unless you had an email address that ended in .edu. You had to be a student. Right? There was no Instagram, and there was no iPhone, y'all. So much has happened in the last 13 years that I shudder to think of the advancements that are coming in the next 13. I wonder who among you is going to be the next Steve Jobs. You know, the founder of Apple never got a college degree, but he taught a master class in how to succeed, no matter what your goal. My goal was broadcasting. I was hell-bent and determined on earning my way up to the top. I chose a degree in general studies from this university for one reason: I didn't have to take a foreign language. And y'all think I'm kidding. That's the truth. After all, as I tell people, I'm still working on my English. As I climb the professional ladder, I've competed for jobs against some of the smartest people around. I mean, I'm talking about people who went to Ivy League institutions. Some had more degrees than a thermometer. I've got one. It's a bachelor's. But I also have something that's equally important. I've got a determination that can slice through steel to reach my dream. I took advantage of TOPS graduated with no student loans, and have never regretted choosing this university as my alma mater. In fact, I smile when people say to me, where did you go to school? And I say ULL. I mean, look, not everybody recognizes ULL, but everyone has heard of Cajun country, and I believe this university is the heart of Cajun country. What I'd like to do today is I want to try and inspire you in some way, because inspiration is what drives my ambition. I got my start in television when I was in high school. In fact, the CBS station here in Lafayette, KLFY-TV, had a teen report program, as Mr. Bowie mentioned. Teenagers could apply to be a part of the program. You'd do a story on an event that affected teens in the area, and it would air on Sunday night. It was a lot of work, but I fell in love with it quickly. When I graduated, I asked for an internship, and the answer was no. But I learned early on that no is not an answer that I take well. I can be pretty relentless, maybe even a little annoying in asking for an opportunity. Take that as some free advice. The internship eventually happened, and about a month later, I was hired as a part-time reporter. And within about another month, I was anchoring the weekend news. So I would anchor the news on the weekend and go to college during the week. In fact, when I first walked into my very first class here on campus, it was an English 101 class, and the late Jackie Fourcade was the instructor, and she looked at me and she said, "Man, Shad, didn't I see you on TV last night?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, that was me." She said, "Well, take a seat." I said, "Yes, ma'am." Maria Placer was the vice president of news at the time. She ran the television station, at least the news department. And she was the first person to take a professional chance on me. Now look, there were doubters. The way the story goes, her boss, the general manager of the television station, said he didn't want to hire me. Sure, I only had a high school diploma, didn't even have a college class under my belt at the time. But he also said this. He said, look, the Begnaud kid's hair is pointy like a quail, and he doesn't have a tan. He needs a tan. Well, the now older David Begnaud's hair is not quite as pointy, but I still need a tan. Look, you too are going to need someone to take a chance on you. The first person who takes a chance on you may just be paying it forward. Chances are, that person is where he or she is because someone took a chance on them. But you've got to do your part. You've got to do your part to get that chance. The more doors you knock on, the greater the chance is someone will open it just wide enough for you to stick a foot in the door. So school's over, but here's an assignment I've got for you, and I won't check up on you to see if you did it. I want you to ask yourself, what do I love? What do I love to do? And then follow up with this question to yourself. Who am I going to ask to take a chance on me so I can pursue doing what I love doing for the rest of my life? My dream was to be a CBS News correspondent based in Dallas. Dallas because it was close to my family. Today, I am very proud to stand before you and say that I am a CBS News correspondent based in Dallas. When people say to me on the street, "So what do you want to do next?" I think to myself, what the heck do you mean, what do I want to do next? I'm doing what I always dreamed of doing. But the reality is there's always going to be a next. So what is next for you? It helps to find a mentor. You create your own dream. A mentor can help make it come true. One of mine is in the audience. She's in the front row. 20 years ago, I met Josette Surratt at Turlings Catholic High School. She was my English teacher and later became my speech coach. Today, she is still a guiding light for me. Just as Maria Placer molded David Begnaud, the professional, Josette Surratt molded David Begnaud, the man. And I thank her for that. So who's going to do that for you? There is someone out there who's going to help you. You know the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I want to challenge you to find the public service in your profession. Over a dozen years of reporting, I've told countless stories, but arguably none have had the impact of the story my team and I were able to tell last year in Puerto Rico. After the island was hit by Hurricane Maria, a Category 4 storm, journalism became a lifeline for people. The entire island lost power. With a hotel generator and a Wi-Fi signal, we were able to tell and show the world what happened there. And let me tell you, it was catastrophic. I knew that 2 minutes of time on national television in the morning and at night was not enough time to tell the whole story. So I picked this up, and I just started talking into it because it just felt like the right thing to do. People were slipping notes under my door at the hotel, begging that we let their family on the mainland know that they were okay, or saying, would you please let them know this? The man leading the response for FEMA said to me, I know you're from Louisiana, but trust me, Maria was worse than Katrina. FEMA has never fed so many people, never provided so much water after a natural disaster as it did in Puerto Rico. Reporters don't always walk away from a story making a difference or even feeling like they made a difference. But let me say this to you. What we were able to do in Puerto Rico reminds me of why I first got into this profession. Because Maria Placer was the first woman to teach me how journalism can be a public service. And to that end, if I may indulge me for a minute, let me tell you something about the Puerto Rican people. They are Americans who sign up for our military, they fight for us, and they die for this country. They can't vote for president, and they don't have the same representation in Congress that you and I do. They are some of the most resilient people I've ever met. They will welcome you into their home like a good Cajun will, and they will give you their food before they take a bite. Please do me a favor, and don't forget the people of Puerto Rico. As you go through life looking for opportunities, I want you to find one to meet your heroes and your sheroes. I remember talking to the legendary radio and television host Larry King one day. He and I used to work together, and he was regaling me with stories of other stories that he and President Kennedy would share. And he said to me at one point, he goes, who do you want to meet? And I said, Maya Angelou. So he reached into his pocket and pulled out a flip phone and opened it and dialed a number. And sure enough, on the phone, after getting through an assistant, was Maya Angelou. So I sat there stunned as he starts explaining to Maya Angelou who I am, and I can tell, he's like, she's probably on the other end thinking, who's this guy? And he says, quote, his dream is to meet you. So he hands me the phone, and I take it, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but what I remember is she said to me, I would love to have you to my home in North Carolina for the weekend. I was shocked. But a few weeks later, there I sat at her table in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a yellow tablecloth absorbing the sweat that was pouring out of my body. And I was about to meet the famed American poet, this national treasure. I sat alone at the table as her assistant went to get her. And all of a sudden, I remember to my left in the frame of her bedroom door, there she appeared in that perfect posture and impressive height that she had. And she stood in the doorway and she said to me in that unmistakable voice, Mr. Begnaud, welcome home. I melted. Someone who you admire is going to welcome you home. But who is it going to be? Have you asked to meet them? Take a risk. Take a giant risk. Take a chance. As Oprah says, all people want to know is, do you hear me? And does what I have to say matter? Maya Angelou always had a way of saying things and doing things that made people feel like they mattered. She carried herself in a way that demanded attention, yet everyone around her felt welcome. To that end, as you walk into the next phase of your life, be aware of how you carry yourself and who you surround yourself with. A little pro tip that I've learned along the way, make eye contact with people at all times. It really makes a difference. And when you go for a job interview, don't just answer the questions, ask them. as I sat down to write my remarks, I went looking for some inspiration of my own. I watched a couple of commencement addresses, Oprah at Harvard and Steve Jobs at Stanford. And both of them, incredibly successful people, mentioned the same word: failure. For me, the fear of failure has really been my fuel. And I would encourage you to let it be yours. You're going to fear not getting a job, maybe losing one. There may be a health scare in your life. Or a relationship may end because you go about pursuing what you love. Take the risk anyway. One of my greatest gifts that I've ever been given came from my partner, who's in the audience today. After working in local news in Lafayette and Shreveport and Sacramento and Los Angeles, and for an unexpected year at Entertainment Tonight, I took the chance to move to New York to do some freelance work for CBS News. Now look, it was a wild risk. There was no guarantee of anything. The rent there is expensive. I was paying out of pocket. And I went to him and I said, I want to do this. And I will never forget what he said to me. He said, I fully support you doing what you love, but I'm doing what I love, and I don't expect you'll ask me to leave it to follow you. I couldn't argue with that, but I took the chance anyway. There will be moments in your life when you have to make choices like that. My hope for you is that if both matter to you greatly, you can find a way to make it work. It has for me, and I know that it will for you. About that work. Sometimes you're going to be the perfect choice for the job, but in other cases, it may not quite be that way. Even if you think you're the right one, the boss may not. Don't let up. In fact, if it's your dream to do that job, don't get distracted by the doubters. I thought I'd probably either work for ABC or NBC News. My style didn't quite seem to fit CBS, although CBS was my dream job. I was not so much Dan Rather as rather not. But I knew I had my work cut out for me. Early on, there were doubters. More doubters than supporters, I promise you that. They didn't say no, but they said, we're not sure. And let me tell you, when you're trying to get your foot in the door, not sure can be a deal killer. But I never gave up. And today I am happy to report to you that some people who doubted me the most have become my most ardent supporters. I hope this quote means as much to you as it does to me. It's from Danielle Laporte. You will always be too much of something for someone. You're going to be too big, you're going to be too loud, you're going to be too soft, you might be a little too edgy. If you round out your edges, you lose that edge. Apologize for mistakes. Apologize for hurting someone unintentionally, profusely. But don't ever apologize for being who you are. I spent a good number of years watching other people in my business, and to a degree trying to emulate them. But my career really took off when I stopped trying to be a little bit of everyone else and started being the absolute version of myself. Suddenly, CBS went from seeming like the last place that might want to hire me to the place that has welcomed me and my style and accepted me. It now feels like the right place to be. It has really become home. As Steve Jobs said to the class at Stanford, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. The truth is, my friends, no one can be you as well as you can be. Even, think about this, even identical twins are different. So get busy being you, the best you that can possibly be, the only you that there will ever be. About those degrees, they don't define you. You may find your calling in something that has nothing to do with your degree. I majored in general studies. Some people laughed at it. I'm so proud I did it anyway. You may find your calling in, let's say, baking, but you got a degree in chemistry. Well, you know what? I would encourage you to open a bakery, because I promise you, you will be more successful baking if you love it that much than you will finding a job in chemistry trying to make a good living if it's just another job for you. College is the gateway to the rest of your life. Find what you love to do. Do it better than anyone else can do. Trust me, the money will catch up to you. As Maya Angelou said to me at that kitchen table, you can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make it your goal, she said. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. My first salary was $12,000. Then I got a raise to $17,000. And y'all, when they bumped me up to 25, I called my best friend and I said, dinner's on me. You're gonna know that you found your calling when you love doing that job so much that you're willing to take any chance to just stick a foot in the door. As Oprah put it, do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. So what do you want to do? What do you love doing more than anything else? When you know the answer, promise yourself that you will do whatever it takes, and I mean whatever it takes, to do that job. I live to interview fascinating people, and I've got a dream that one day my producers and I will be calling someone from the class of 2018 to ask to interview you. 2018, I'm rooting for you. Congratulations, and thank you for welcoming me home.
That was a wonderful set of remarks, and it would be unnecessary to me to comment on what a grand presentation that was. But we have one more thing for you to do, sir. Would you come forward with the President as we issue, as the President awards you the Commencement Speaker's Award?